And I'm Cody, we're your host, and today we're going to talk about designer bag authentication. Now before we start, I want to let everyone know that it took us about 10 tries for me to not say authentication. So keep that in mind, we're putting a lot of effort in for our viewers. But let's see, we're going to talk about bags, but we're also going to talk about some clothing. We don't have clothing with us, we've sold what we've had in the designer, I guess, section with that. But in front of us, I don't think you guys can see it. We'll just run through what we're going to go through first, and then we'll get more in depth. So we have a very, very fake Prada purse.
We have this this leather Gucci purse that we actually picked up today.
It's also very fake. We have this Gucci accessories, and I can't even read it because it runs off the edge. This is probably the fakest thing. I don't even think it's the same Gucci font.
No, it's not, but it came with the bag.
Yeah, it was in the bag. And then we have our Louis Vuitton trifold wallet that, honestly, we're not 100% sure if it's fake or not. Pretty certain off of what we'll show you and why we think it's fake, but very slightly
100%
iffy.
Yeah.
So, let's start with the super fake. We'll end with the Louis Vuitton since it's really close. Let's start with the Prada purse. We got this a while ago. I bought it knowing it was fake because I wanted to have an example of a fake purse that we could reference. So the most clear thing that I think everyone goes to immediately is the logo. You're drawn to the logo. I mean, that's what you see to show that it's a designer piece.
And the majority of bags, keep in mind, the majority of bags are pretty close replica to the same logo at least. The font on the logo itself is usually the same.
This one has a small detail with Prada on the R, where that diagonal leg comes off, where it meets the round part of the R is usually going to shoot in a little bit. It's not going to be just like a normal R. It'll shoot in a little bit. So this one doesn't have it. Let me come up a little closer to the camera and show you guys. So there goes our mic. So right here on the R would usually jut in, but as you can see, it doesn't on this R. That's a good way to tell that it's a fake Prada purse. So right off the bat, it's pretty easy to tell that this is not real. Second place we looked was on the inside. This little flap is not even real leather, it's like foam.
And most real designer purses have these little tags on the inside as well.
But they will be sewn, they won't be able to flap up like this. They'll be sewn all the way down. They won't be made of like fake foam, and they'll also be better. As you can see on this one, it's the font is shifted all the way to the right. There's a big gap right here and no gap right here. It's just absolutely terrible. This is such a bad replica. The zippers, material, hardware on real purses and real handbags will be phenomenal. They'll all be matching. They'll all be really nice hardware.
And they shouldn't necessarily tarnish either.
Yeah, they shouldn't be rubbing off like any type of the paint or the stain or anything. This zipper has no insignia on it. Bad sign. Should have insignia. The inside zippers are cheaper zippers than you'd find on a Walmart pair of jeans. Very bad sign. You definitely don't want that. And so, looking at this purse, the first two things you notice when you look at the logo, the inside logo, and the hardware, immediately you can tell this is a very cheap made purse. These companies do not make anything cheap, as you know. I mean, a real Prada purse can go for thousands of dollars. They can be very, very expensive. So, bad sign there. Now, why don't you take us through stitching and the such, because that's a super important one if it starts to get closer.
So the stitching is going to be pretty.
It is going to be perfect.
Perfect. I was going to say symmetrical.
Okay.
It's all going to look the exact same. You're not going to find any defects or anything. You're not going to find, most of the time, you're not going to find where the stitching ends, where they start a new stitching. On this purse in particular, I'm looking at it right now. There's stitching all over the place. I mean, I can see there's like about 2 centimeters of just extra stitch hanging right here. extra thread. I wouldn't say this. The design in general, the pattern and the stitch in general, is that far off. I feel like a lot of designer purses do use the same stitching pattern.
Well, the stitching on designer purses a lot of the time is more like along like this. It's slightly angled, very slightly. It doesn't ever overlap either.
And yeah, with this one, there's no consistency throughout the entire purse. It's like wavy, and that's not what a real designer brand, especially Prada or Gucci, would do.
So easily we can tell that this purse is fake. I mean, that was probably like, yeah, that doesn't even unclip. That was probably I mean, honestly, it's a worthless purse. It probably cost them, there's a straw in it. It probably cost them less than $1 to make. I mean, the materials themselves may have been up to $1, but that's about it. Very cheap, terrible purse. Now this Gucci, still a terrible replica. I knew immediately it was fake, but it does very few things a little better. It's obviously a more quality material, which makes it, I guess for some people, fun to carry around. The stitching is terrible in some spots, but it looks, I would say, okay. Not even alright, but okay in some areas. But in some spots, the stitching is, some stitches are this long, some are this long. I mean, it's a huge difference.
It's a higher quality, like I just said, there's no consistency in the stitching. This is, I would say, a higher quality replica, higher quality fake than the Prada was.
But it's still very bad.
It's pretty poor still.
You can see, these two things are not even close to the same length. And as I'm rubbing my fingers on it, just material is coming off of it.
It's not genuine leather, but it's a good substitute.
Yeah, that should never happen. The inside material, also there's another of the flaps that's just poorly made. The inside material on this bag is like a super cheap nylon type stuff. You'll never find the super cheap nylon inside of a designer bag. I mean, these bags cost thousands of dollars. They're never going to put a cheap material inside of it. The emblem on front, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think this was ever a Gucci design. I think this was just a fake knockoff purse. It may have been. I wouldn't quote me on that. I don't know all the Gucci designs. I don't know that you could ever know every single exact Gucci design. But I do know that they wouldn't just press this in. It's not like even a nice heat press.
It's off-centered.
Yeah, super off-centered. It's terrible, but it would be a nicer insignia that you'd be able to tell. I almost missed this because I could barely tell that it said Gucci, but it does. But it's just a terrible press. So this purse, we knew immediately was fake. Wanted to get it again as another kind of example of what is fake, so we can just, if we ever need to compare, we'd be like, okay, it's super fake compared to this, blah, 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 blah. And it's also cool to collect all the fake purses. I mean, we have Gucci, Prada, and Louis Vuitton now. I'm sure at some point going to find a Chanel purse. We'll find a lot of different ones, and it's fun to just have a bunch of the fakes, just because this one costs $2. We got this for $2. And we did get a Louis Vuitton purse a couple days ago, but I tore it up because we're going to repurpose some of the material. It is in this bag. It was just like a sheet of the outside of the purse. It was very, very, very cheap. I mean, it was like just terrible. So we have found a Louis Vuitton purse. Now, let's go to... let's talk about that.
Yeah, we have a little Gucci coin wallet, I guess. I don't know what kind of material is on the outside of this, but it feels very plasticky.
Yeah, it's definitely just some type of plastic.
Again, the button is super off-center. I'll take a closer look over here. But as you can see, this little pin is super off-center from the rest. Again, with the stitching, I don't know how well you can see that. Again, with the stitching, and if you look at the inside here, I mean, that's just really poorly designed. really poorly put together.
They show them that the words on
The zipper as well is really cheap. And the like he said, the words just end. So there's that.
It doesn't even go through. So that is unbelievably fake.
It says the word Gucci and has very poorly and has a very poor representation of their logo.
Again, this is a cool little thing to have, just a little piece to add to the pile of fake purses, because I personally would spend $2 on a fake purse any day, just because it's fun to have. So let's go into this and explain why we think it's fake and why we're pretty sure it is, but also explain why it's a good replica. So let's start with the design. The design is pretty consistent. Everything lines up fairly well. It is a little off-center, some of it, which is bad. Everything should be perfectly centered with each other. All the designs should be perfectly on top of each other. And it may just be the way that the purse is sitting. But this pink and purple one, I don't know if you can see from there, this pink and purple one are slightly not on top of each other, which is a bad sign. Good sign on the design is it goes all the way down. So it's one piece of material. I don't even know if this is genuine leather, but it's one piece of material. And when you close it, the back of it looks upside down when the front looks right side up. Older Louis Vuitton did that because they used one genuine piece of leather rather than sewing two pieces together. And so that's not something you should really worry about in a Louis Vuitton bag, especially because that was a thing that they did. You need to use different signs like the stitching and hardware and stuff to authenticate. So that was a good thing for this. The stitching is pretty good, but there are some issues with it. Like as you can see, there's some pop outs.
Right.
The stitches pop out a little bit, which is not a good thing. They shouldn't be like that, but they are. There's no open threads hanging out. There's no like wonky kind of side to side stitches going on with it. The hardware. All the hardware has Louis Vuitton on it, LV, whether it's a button right there, it says Louis Vuitton. Right here, we got the LV. It's kind of hard to see with the glare. But the Louis Vuitton on here is not straight set up. You can see it's not in the center of this pink piece, which is also a bad sign. And then this hardware is, I don't know if you can see with the angle, you can see the little spot right there. And it's also not completely gold. It's tarnishing a little bit and losing some of its color, which shouldn't happen with a genuine wallet. I'm actually going to stay pretty close for this. The inside, pretty good shape, good color. You have the stamp, which all the font is right, but the stamp looks a little off. It doesn't look as genuine as it could be. Now, one thing you want to look for in all purses is a date code. So what the date code is it tells you when the piece was made. And so as we were looking through this, we found a code in here, which I highly doubt you'll be able to see. It's kind of back there behind this thumb that's wiggling. And we thought it may be the date code. And so we got pretty excited for it. Turns out it's actually just the model number. So there's no date code on this wallet. Now, date codes are pretty essential for any of them. Some Louis Vuitton pieces, not every single Louis Vuitton piece has a date code. Some of them get rubbed off, even genuine ones. If you go to a dealer, they'll tell you that very few, you're really going to need to get it authenticated and really get it looked at if it doesn't have a date code. But there is a chance that if you buy from a Louis Vuitton boutique or store or anything, and you get a piece, there's this small chance that it doesn't have a date code. So it's very worrisome that there's no date code there, but it's not like a make or break. So looking at the other things, it's pretty bad sign. It has some pretty bad signs.
The fact that there's no date code.
Yeah.
The pattern, we did some research. The pattern looks a little bit enlarged compared to this model in particular. We don't know if if it's supposed to be like that. We don't know if it's like a misprint or just straight up a fake, a replica, whatever.
The hardware tarnishes some. Stuff is not centered, and the stamp doesn't look all the way there. And so the piece that you're kind of iffy with, you can get it authenticated. I'm sure it costs money to have something authenticated, so you really want to be on the edge. I don't even know that we will get this authenticated because I don't know that it's worth spending the money on, since we're pretty certain it's fake. This is a really, really, really good replica. It's a really high quality replica where they put a lot of work and a lot of time and effort into it. These are the Gucci bag, the Prada purse.
The Prada one particularly.
Yeah, they're super clear fakes, and I don't think they were ever fooling anybody. The Louis Vuitton purse we had, super clear fake. I don't think it was fooling anybody. But some people like to carry them around. I would never go out with a fake purse or anything, but it's fun to have, just to be like, hey, look, we have all these fake purses. Look how fake this one is. It gives me a good laugh looking at how fake some of these things are. As for clothes, essentially the same things go. Look at stitching. Make sure stitching is perfect.
Stitching, fabric, logos, tags.
All of that should be... I mean, these things don't come out of the factory unless they're perfect. They will literally burn the items. They will not let them get anywhere close to the end of the factory unless they're absolutely perfect. They have entire teams looking at each stitch to make sure it's perfect. So if you find something that doesn't have a perfect stitch, unless it's a lower end brand, but like with Gucci, these Italian brands, Gucci, MCM, Louis Vuitton, they're not leaving unless they're perfect. So like Tyler was saying with clothes, look at the tag, look at the logo, look at the stitches, make sure the fabric's a nice fabric. If it's a cheap fabric, it's clearly not.
If you got a Gucci logo on the front of a shirt and you look at the tag, it says Hanes.
that's going to be a bootleg for
Gucci.
You. Which is where we're going to go into that in just a second. Difference between bootleg and fake, real quick, just to give everyone an idea. You're really going to be out of luck if you find one of these inside of your purse. I know you can't read this, but this particular tag says made in China. That's a terrible sign if you're trying to authenticate. Made in China is never a good sign when it comes to a purse that is supposed to be made in Italy. So if you see that, you probably got ripped off if you were buying it as a real. So real quick, let's talk about bootleg and fake. Everything we have in front of us right now is
a fake.
Full-blown fake. What a fake is somebody took and branded a Gucci or Louis Vuitton piece as if it was a real thing.
Prada or...
Yeah, any of these designer companies, and branded it as if it was real and sold it as if it was real. Used their design and everything, and was trying to pass it as real, even if it was a super bad fake, was trying to pass it as real. That's fake. Now, bootleg is essentially an artist design piece. So say, like Tyler had just mentioned, you have Gucci symbol on front and a Hanes tag or a Fruit of the Loom tag. That's bootleg, which means somebody took just normal shirt and had Gucci printed on it, or had a Louis Vuitton printed on it, or took old Louis Vuitton material and made some pants out of it. Those are all bootleg pieces. Now, I used to not like bootleg. I didn't like anything that wasn't completely real. I'm still that way with some things like jewelry and watches. I'm not a big fan of watches that aren't high-end. I don't like fake knockoff watches. But with clothing in particular, I think bootleg is awesome. Because it's like artist design. Like it's inspired by people that just like to design to make their own
and
things.
that's some bootleg. Like if you get something like a really faded Gucci logo screen printed on a Hanes t-shirt. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it'd have to be a cool piece. I mean, I would take a Hanes crew neck with Gucci's printed on. I think that's freaking sweet. And I mean, you see them in like pink and like a sky blue.
Yeah.
Gucci doesn't make stuff like that. But what Gucci did do is, as bootleg started gaining popularity, Gucci actually made a bootleg-inspired line of clothing. So that, I mean, if Gucci will accept it and think it's cool, there's no reason everyone should be hating on bootleg. hate on fake all you want. Fake stuff sucks. I hate fake stuff because it's so crappy. But I would roll with bootleg just because it's unique and inspired by people who want to make their own art.
And it's cool if you're into one type of style, but the designer brand doesn't necessarily make that style. You can get a bootleg thing that looks
exactly
what you want it to look like.
And you can get bootleg crew necks, t-shirts, long sleeves, hats, shoes, overalls, pants, swim trunks, things that they just never made, and you can get them if somebody else makes them. That's why bootleg is so desirable. So I wouldn't say turn away bootleg. If you're at a flea market, you're at a thrift store, and you see a Gucci printed across the shirt, or you see Chanel on a men's shirt. Chanel doesn't make anything for men's. You're not going to find a men's size Chanel shirt. If you see that and you like it, pick it up. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no shame in it. If you see a fake piece, if it says Gucci and it's got this wobbly stitching and it says Gucci on the tag, I'd be a little bit more iffy on it. If you want to rock with it, by all means rock with it. That's your own opinion. But we wanted to do this little tutorial to just show everybody kind of what to look for when you run across a designer bag in a thrift store, because you never know. You may pick up the Gucci bag and be like, it's a $2 Gucci bag at a thrift store, look it over, see that everything's perfect, and have a $500 purse on your hands. That happens. I think that wraps up our kind of designer thing. I wish we had more clothes to show. We had a Saint Laurent polo we sold. We had some bait polo. We had some more streetwear things. We do have some Supreme stuff, but Supreme's pretty easy. If you want us to go into a streetwear video, just leave a comment. Let us know if you want us to do a streetwear video. We can definitely do that. But as for designer, I think that pretty much covers it. Gives you a little basis. Yeah. If you really need to get in depth, you can take it to a boutique. You can take it to a store that buys and sells higher end pieces and have them authenticate. There's always those options. So now on to the best part of the video, is the discount time to show what we got this week. Well, let's start it off pretty simple with what we have on. I have this Polo Ralph Lauren crested long sleeve polo. This is a really solid piece. It's a medium. I usually wear a large, but it fits me really well. I think it'd be a little baggy. Tyler wears a medium. A little baggy, but it would probably fit him too, just depending on style. Big crest, embroidered, really nice shirt. Can you explain your piece?
I'm wearing a Polo Sport Arctic. What was this?
Arctic Challenge.
Arctic Challenge. I was going to say Arctic Blast for some reason. Arctic Challenge, half zip, quarter zip.
Yeah, something like that. They got a little zip on it.
Somewhere, yeah, it's something zip.
The Arctic Challenge line is actually fairly rare, and they're super nice. It's a really well-made piece.
It's the bi-color piece. So you got the black on the bottom, red on the top, split by a Polo Sport band, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a strip. So that's up too. That's one of our nicer pieces we got. I'm really a fan of that one. We'll start with this centerpiece. We actually grabbed this today. We got a Polo Ralph Lauren Black Watch polo. It's got a 2 on the sleeve. Got the big horse, the big Polo Black Watch crest, tricolored. Actually, it's 4 colors, quadruple colored, quad colored. That's what it is. Really nice polo. The Black Watch are fairly rare, not crazy rare, but fairly sought after. This is also a medium. Fits really well for me.
Yeah, it's their custom fit. We were looking at it on the shelf and we couldn't decide if it was actually true to size or not. And,
yeah,
we decided to buy it. Took it home. Like you said, I do wear a medium, and it fit me perfectly.
Yeah, like Tyler's just saying,
it has a really good fit to it.
Yeah, it's a tighter fit, more forming fit. It looks really nice. It's an awesome shirt. You want to talk about, this is your big piece. You want to show that?
Yeah, I found this one today. Actually, it's a. I'm not 100% on the
era.
Era, but it's got a really old and really big. This is Champion's older logo, and the sleeves as well definitely have the older logo. crew neck sweatshirt. It's, what do we say? Was it double XL?
Yeah, it's faded. I think it's a double XL. It's pretty big. So I wear like a large to an XL, and I mean you can see it just kind of
XL, double XL, probably double XL.
It's double to possibly pushing triple XL.
Yeah, that was our find. That was what we found today.
I like that. I got this yesterday, 2 days ago. This was actually a super sweet find.
I really like that.
Somebody actually ended up grabbing this and then put it down before they left. But this is a vintage Nautica challenge coat. On this sleeve it says J-Class 1930, 1937. Yellow interior, big heavy zipper, all the buttons are covered. It does come with a hood. I have the hood wrapped up inside of here because I was wearing a sweatshirt under it with a hood. So it does have the hood with it. This is a large. It fits great. It's a little short, but it's like fits what a rain jacket actually should fit like.
And that's how it was supposed to fit back.
Yeah, this is an older jacket for sure. You look over. Nah, I love that T-shirt, man.
Yeah, we got a midnight hour. Is this? We got a.
It's Rusty Wallace, I think.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, that's what. We got a midnight hour number 2 Rusty Wallace NASCAR T-shirt, single stitched. Pretty good condition for how old it is. What year did we say this was?
I don't think it ever actually said on it. I'm assuming Rusty Wallace is an older racer. Let me look up when he raced.
But yeah, it's an XL, really quality piece. It is licensed by Penske Racing, so it's a official T-shirt.
Let's see, Rusty Wallace.
And did you want to go over this hat?
Yeah, hit the hat real quick while I'm looking at this. I'm going to look at this champion.
Cody found this hat yesterday. We are going to clean it up a little bit and reshape it and everything. It's just like a vintage hat, just in general. It's with a bunch of zoo animals on it.
Yes, it's not branded, but I just thought it was super sick. It's like a safari hat.
Cody was a big fan of it.
I just thought it was badass, so I decided to pick it up. I'm sure somebody will appreciate it. Over here we have a Bruce Lee. I do have the date on this one. 1997.
That's one that had the date. I knew one of them had a date.
1997 Bruce Lee changes tag. It's single stitch. The Bruce Lee changes are with the changes tag on them are actually fairly rare. We have this one priced really reasonably. I think it's at $30 right now. This is a really nice shirt. It's a 2XL. Oh, it's an XL. It's an XL. Like I said, single stitch. It's in really great condition. There's no stains, no tears, or anything on it. This is a really nice grail of a T-shirt. And here, last piece here. You found that one?
And then we got again, a vintage champion Dallas Cowboys T-shirt.
This one's it's a pro line.
It's got the NHL Authentic Pro line series. Your basic Dallas Cowboys shirt.
That's NFL, by the way.
Single stitch as well.
That's NFL. You said NHL. That's that look.
Sorry.
It's 1994. Also, the date is on that one.
94. And this is a triple XL. So that was a pretty cool find. It's got champion on the sleeve embroidered.
It's a nice.
It's in good condition, really good condition.
Yeah, and the pro line shirts are.
It's
harder
to
really
find. Thick too. The fabric's a thick material, so it's a quality shirt, I'd say.
All right. Word of the day is bootleg. We'll go with bootleg. Bootleg is the word. 10% off anything you saw in the video. Hit us in our DMs at theflipstas.apparel on Instagram. It'll be linked in the description. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Let us know what else you want to see, what you want to hear us talk about. And we will see you next time. Closing out, I'm Cody.
I'm Tyler. We'll see you next week.